I need your help, please subscribe my channel. It was 2:03 a.m. when my phone lit up on the nightstand. Sleep had already abandoned me. Lately my mind churned its own restless noise. The message came from Madison, my wife. Don't wait up. 7 words, yet they pressed against my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. 8 years of marriage had taught me what lost track of time really meant. A gentle lie, for I'll explain later. I stared at the glow of the screen, the light bouncing off the untouched glass of water beside it. My first instinct was to call her, but a quiet, unfamiliar voice inside me told me not to. It wasn't the first late night. Over the past few months, her girls' nights had grown more frequent, her laughter rising at texts she refused to share. Her phone always faced down. The subtle drift from warmth to distance was almost imperceptible. Until one day it wasn't. Betrayal isn't sudden, people say. It's more like erosion, a slow fading of color until the world turns gray. I got out of bed, walked into the kitchen, and poured another cup of coffee. The apartment was still, except for the quiet hum of the refrigerator. On the counter sat her half-finished wine glass from earlier, next to her phone charger. I stared at it and remembered all the nights she claimed she was tired, not in the mood, yet stayed up texting someone. I opened our shared location app. She was at the Lantern, a downtown bar I knew well. Dim lights, craft cocktails, a band playing far too loudly for conversation. The address flickered briefly, then held steady. I didn't need to go there. Instead, I began typing a message. Take your time. I've been thinking too. Then I placed the phone face down and started collecting her belongings around the apartment, calmly, deliberately. Her books from the nightstand, the framed photo from our Denver anniversary, the sweater she always left on the couch. Each item went into 2 boxes, a silent archive of the life we'd shared before this fracture. By the time I finished, it was 3:40 a.m. Still no sign of her. I sat on the couch, boxes beside me, staring at the front door. My reflection in the dark window was strange, older, quieter. A man who had stopped explaining himself to someone who had stopped listening. At 3:57 the door unlocked. Madison stepped in, her perfume carrying that expensive, familiar scent. She froze at the sight of the boxes. "What's this?" she asked, her voice tight. "You said you lost track of time," I said, calm and steady. "I just helped you find some of it." Her eyes darted from me to the boxes. "You're overreacting. I was with Jenna, I didn't ask." "You've been losing track of a lot lately, Madison," I said softly. "Your promises, your presence, maybe even me." Her mouth opened but no words came. Silence stretched thin between us. Finally she whispered, "You packed my stuff?" "I packed what's yours," I said. "The rest, this space, this life, that's mine." For the first time in months, fear crossed her face. Not anger, not indignation, fear. She realized she couldn't talk her way through this. Her phone buzzed and she glanced at it, forgetting for a moment. The reflection on the glass door showed an incoming message from a contact saved as J. Work. Her color drained. "Don't," I said softly. "You don't need to explain," she murmured, placing the phone on the counter, hands shaking. "Lucas, please," I interrupted. "Go home." "What do you mean, home?" Her composure cracked. "You're throwing away 8 years over a text?" "No," I said, standing. "I'm ending this over the truth. I've stopped pretending not to see." She froze, eyes glistening. "You'll regret this." I shook my head slowly. "No, Madison. You'll remember it." She stayed silent, her breathing uneven, then glanced at the boxes again. "You can't just end it like this." "I didn't," I said softly. "You did." "No. I just gave it a name." Her eyes caught the pale light of dawn creeping through the blinds. She stepped closer, voice breaking. "You're being cruel." "Cruel?" I almost laughed, disbelief, not joy. For the past year I had bent myself into shapes that no longer fit, excusing late replies, cold goodnights, phantom smiles when her phone buzzed. I had chosen peace over truth, until peace became a lie. She didn't cry immediately. She just stared at the life she was losing, realizing words wouldn't save it this time. Finally she whispered, "Where am I supposed to go?" "Wherever you've been losing track of time," I replied. That broke her. She sank onto the couch, covering her face. The same couch where we had shared movies, dinners, and apologies that never lasted. I wanted to comfort her, a habit, a reflex. But love without respect is merely self-harm dressed as devotion. I walked to the window and pulled the blinds open. Dawn painted the city in pale blue, a quiet reset. "Is there someone else?" she asked, voice trembling. "No," I said. "There's just me now. For once, that has to be enough." She exhaled shakily, perhaps expecting an emotional speech or a fight. I gave none. I was done fighting battles where surrender had already been declared. After a long pause, she stood, grabbed her purse and muttered, "I'll come back when you've calmed down." "You might be waiting a long time," I said softly. When the door closed, I expected relief. Instead, there was stillness, deeper than quiet, honest in a way that needed no distraction. I sat with the boxes, thinking of the early days. The laughter, late-night drives, promises that had once felt invincible. People change without announcing it. One day, they simply stop meeting you where they used to. I didn't text her after that night. I didn't ask where she went or who she was with. Silence became its own closure. A week later, I filed the papers. She called once when served. I didn't answer. A few nights later, her text came, "Can we talk?" I didn't mean for things to go this far. I read it twice, then typed one word, "No." Not anger, just self-respect. For years, I had been the man who stayed, reasoned, forgave. But at 2:03 a.m., when she told me she had lost track of time, I found something I had been searching for: clarity. 2 weeks later, I passed the lantern. Its neon sign flickered just like before. I could almost hear her laughter. But this time it didn't sting. It was a memory, one I no longer needed to carry. I went inside, ordered a drink, and when the bartender asked about a tab, I smiled. "No, just one. I've learned not to leave anything open." That night, under the dim streetlights, I understood something simple yet profound. Losing someone who doesn't value you isn't tragedy. It's freedom disguised as pain. Somewhere out there, maybe Madison still tells herself she simply lost track of time. But I know better. She didn't lose time. She lost me.